Crit answer, everyone. It's finally time. I put it off for a long while, but I'm very happy that I did so because they overhauled this UI a whole lot. And with every little UI update, they made it better, I think. So here it is. We're reading books now, finally. We're most likely just gonna go through a few levels, like maybe up to Urban Legend or something. And then in a future video, I will read the rest of them. So let's start with the Rats, Lenny's page. We've read this before, I think, in a video, but just for completionist's sake, I'm gonna read it again. Wanna hear a secret? This is kinda embarrassing, but I used to have a dream once, like Pete does now. Yeah, I know, I'm still younger than him with a long future ahead of me, but what could I do? Life's too rough for that. Others say that rats are a pathetic bunch who were too incompetent to join even the smallest syndicate, let alone a wing. Filthy losers who feed on junk and leftovers, not making any effort to change. Like when I was a young kid, I didn't like that. I thought I was better than those rats, so I decided to get into an examinee town. Little did I know that it would be the one choice I'd regret the most. I begged and nagged at my parents, wanting to achieve that stupid dream. How'd it go, you ask? Seems you're just as stupid, aren't you? I wouldn't be hanging out with these folks if I made it, now would I? What I'm saying is, dreaming won't do jack shit for you. They didn't end up here because they gave up trying. Hell, they wouldn't have set foot on this gutter in the first place if they had what it takes to achieve their dreams. You get it now? Pete's a huge idiot. Poor Lenny. Poor Lenny. There won't be any funny editing in this video, by the way. And I won't interject too many of my thoughts, because I just want to kinda archive the stories on my channel, basically. Maybe a little bit, maybe like 1 or 2 sentences to every page. Mang Cheese page. Did you know? There's grates for each alley in the back streets. Funny, ain't it? Trash and trash can are grading each other. The parts that are under the protection of a syndicate, office or association are pretty safe. Sweepers can't raid those streets easily. Putting the people who live there in a different grade from those who don't, though, is pointless, honestly speaking. Sure, it's a bit safe over there, but we're talking about the back streets, get it? You know what's funnier? Even kids would group themselves according to what part of the streets they live in. They'd even shun the others whose clothes or manner didn't fit their turf style. I had no choice but to accept the sad truth. You wondering how things were in the alleys I lived? Couldn't afford to pay protection fees to a syndicate, so the sweepers came down at night and collected most of my neighbors. I had to witness them take chunks of flesh out of my parents and brothers while they were still breathing. Don't pity me though. My story ain't nothing special around here. Really puts things into perspective, right? They were the first people we booked, and they had some really fucked up backstories, actually. And Pete. There's not a lot of peeps who hang around in the back streets alone. It's cause that's just madness. Weak and dowdy folks gotta band together to survive, get into a small syndicate or anything and make a living somehow. Some ignorant fool makes a scene in back streets on their own. They're just making themselves a target as soon as others notice they're alone. That's why we move in groups. We're called rats for a reason. We crawl about the dark in packs and jump at prey for the chance to bite them apart when we spot one. So you're wondering if we rats have any dreams? I guess belonging to a proper syndicate, if any. We're just too tacky and amateurish to be called one. We hate being bound but to rules, so hell will freeze over before one of us joins an office, and no rat I know would move to an examinee town and study for wing entrance exams. Let's not tell him about Lenny, okay? Those nerds at examinee towns ain't too different from rats like us. We're all dreaming silly dreams that'll never come true with our petty skills. An office, a wing, a syndicate, or whatever. Think it's an easy task to belong to a decent group? People just accept what they got and live on. But still, I wanted to have a dream. Aww. They're just trying their best, you know? They're like the bottom of the barrel trash of society. Like, there's trash of society and then there's the dirt under the fingernails of the trash of society. And these are the rats. It's so bad. Yun's office fixes. Finn's page. It's been a while, sis. Actually, I talked to you some time ago. By myself, of course. It sounds a bit lonely, but I'm fine. Today's not gonna be the same as the days before. I have good news. I finally joined an office run by this guy named Yun and officially became a fixer. You're proud to see your precious little younger brother grow up and make it, aren't you? Isn't it cool? I told you there's no need to worry about me. Oh, about Yun's office. I think it's a really nice place. No, I'm not lying. Our operator Yun is a bit cold, but he teaches me a lot of things. And there's also Ari, who is my senior. I've yet to be friends with her, but she seems like a good person too. For now, they're giving me small jobs like searching for lost cats. Maybe they're worried I'm too inexperienced to handle tougher stuff. It's not really fancy, but If I start out with small tasks like this and work up slowly, I'm gonna be a great fixer one day, yeah? My heart is already pumping with excitement. When I become a proud and dashing fixer, I'll buy a Nest migration ticket and get a nice new home for you. I could buy my gear at the workshop thanks to your help, and all that. Though that's not all. You always looked after me, sis. It's kind of embarrassing to talk about this. Anyway, don't worry about me, and do the things you want to do. I know you were always too busy caring for me to pursue your own interests. You offered to give me a prosthetic body or even a minor procedure the last time we met, but I'm doing fine without any of that stuff. And you got money to earn for yourself. I'm tired, so I'll be going now. I ran around the whole town chasing a cat all day. Night, sis. I hope we see each other again. I wonder what is actually recorded in the books. Is it like precious thoughts of the people, or because in the Reds books it seemed like some kind of interview? They were asked about a specific type of thing. This feels like a letter to his sister, who he hasn't seen in quite a while, I guess. It's interesting. It's very interesting. Aries page. You have a lot of things to prepare before you can jump into the fixer business. Starting with choosing equipment, you'll need clothes to protect your bodily accessories, etc. But before any of that, body augmentation comes first. There's no point having masterful skills or fancy equipment if your body can't keep up, you know? And training hard isn't gonna do it. There's a limit to training your body, and the fittest body is still no match for mechanical prosthetics or bionic organs. You gotta be able to keep your body intact to do anything, so you're pretty much forced to spend a fortune on it. There's a ton of methods to enhance your body. Exoskeletons, bionic surgeries, nano tattoos, prosthetic body parts, you name it. Deciding what workshop tech to employ is up to preference and purpose. Some would want insane muscular strength that could let them carry a power pole one-handed, and others would want ludicrous speed, quick enough to skip over multiple blocks in a split second. So diverse, I could go on forever. You need any ability, they've got you covered. The only hurdle is money. In the city, money is what gets you power. That's why the first thing we notice when we assess our foes is how much they've spent on their bodies. Oh, of course, some technologies patented by close groups like certain syndicates of wings are hard to get your hands on, even if you have all the cash in the world. Just look at me though. It took a teensy little procedure for me to lift this humongous weapon with one hand. This is the kind of power you can get, you see? Body augmentation is more of a necessity than an option these days, so you'll want to study up on that. You don't want to stay a weakling when everyone else is getting their augmentations now, do you? This feels like she's talking about Finn, or rather talking with him about augmentations, I guess. Also, it's very interesting since I kind of wonder what augmentations people like Bina and Gebura have, because they are on a whole different level than like Yun's office, for example. And then Yun himself. Finn was bungling in many ways. He had no talent. He refused to take modification procedures. All he armed himself with was a tiny weapon. I didn't exactly dislike him though. They say a delicate person like him is nothing short of pathetic here, but he had passion regardless, and he was going to be our colleague from now on. Besides, it's not too common to see such a passionate fellow in this grueling mess of a city. He was an interesting one. Then why did I exploit him? Exploit is a rather harsh word to describe it if you ask me. A sloppy kid like him would have gotten killed anyway, abducted in the back streets and fading away while witnessing his innards getting ripped from his body. That's one of the tamer examples I could give. In this city, worse things are happening here and there on a daily basis. If you didn't die there, you could have faced a much more terrible fate somewhere else, isn't that right? Never mind. This is all about rationalization. Think what you want. Damn, what a hard ass, right? And the general story of the Yun's Fixer office, page 1. The society of fixers is built entirely upon meritocracy. I obviously know what that means. The greater you are, the higher you can climb. On the other hand, if you don't have the capability, you should be thankful for any org that accepts you and stay low. Organization? Thing is, capability can mean many things. For some, it could be physical strength and others might have superior intellect. It seems kinda unfair to me that they make arbitrary evaluations of a concept that can be taken in so many different ways. Not that I think I have some hidden talent that deserves a better grade or anything though. I do feel a bit upset, but I think I'm at the right place. The jobs I usually do are looking for lost cats at night. You can tell how low my spot is, yeah? I'm not a huge fan of the jobs I'm doing right now, of course. I mean, sure, I wouldn't say no to some flashier requests. I just accepted to carry on with my life. Disease of the mind! But I think in a world where basically everything can kill you, looking for lost cats for a living, in a still prestigious fixer office, it's better than being a rat at least. So, the Brotherhood of Iron. Mo's page. I frankly don't recommend replacing your entire body with a machine, especially with a cheap one. Aside from basic issues such as vulnerability to damage and creaky noises, cheap prosthetic bodies compromise too much. You're basically giving up all the joys of life. Can you imagine? You can't taste anything when you eat delicious food, and you can't feel the softness and coziness of a good bed. You can't feel anything get stuck in your... Oh, you can't feel anything get stuck in your body, be it a piece of paper or a knife. The head remembers those feelings, but you can't experience them again. Sorry, you know what I mean. There are ways to overcome it though. You could buy a desire stimulation chip and plug it into your brain, inject medications, or use other methods. They're just absurdly expensive. You're better off saving up for a more expensive prosthetic body if you really want your senses back. High quality, pricey bodies come with sensory organs. As I always say, it's all about money in this world. Poor Mo. And poor con stuff for that matter as well. What's your favorite food? That's the question I used to ask the most when I still had a human body. I love eating! Talking about food was a huge delight for me. We would share each other's tastes and preferences and sometimes head to a restaurant for a meal just like that. But now, my body's a machine as you can see. I can't taste anything anymore. Thanks for pointing that out. Mo told me to stop dreaming about it. I still want to try more delicious foods though. Hot and flavorful, spicy and sweet, stuff like that. I guess this body is too cheap to restrain delusional thoughts like this. If we get more money and change our bodies to new ones, then maybe I'll be able to stop these thoughts from getting in the way of my work? I wonder what the restrictions are on being, like, what do they call it, like, these machine bodies. Are they androids now or something? It makes me wonder why A didn't put Carmen into one of these, for example. Maybe she was too far gone. The only thing he managed to salvage was a little bit of a consciousness or something. And her spine, obviously. Both of which he shared among different things, not to spoil anything. Arnold's page. The city consists of 25 nests and 25 districts of the back streets that surround those nests. And countless offices and syndicates preside in the back streets. You know what's a surefire way for a syndicate to make a name for itself among all the competitors? The simplest method is office raiding. You literally storm into an office and wreak havoc on it. You never know who will be the winner until you fight. It could stop at a good beating and one side surrendering, but some syndicates raid offices out of pure boredom and kill everyone. Each syndicate has its own way of operation. It goes without saying that the syndicate has more fame to gain out of raiding a high-grade office filled with seasoned fixers, so the officers have to stay sharp at all times, but you'll also have to watch it. If you misjudge your opponents, you'll end up dead before you could try anything. True. Now to the Hook office. The first, like, genuinely evil people, we thought, in my opinion, because at least they seemed kinda evil. Like the Brotherhood of Iron, they got roped into this Yun's office. Well, Yun is like practical evil. He's like unrighteous or something, I don't know. But the Hook office, well, Cullen's page. It's not entirely impossible for a syndicate member to engage in fixed work or vice versa. It's a pretty common occurrence actually. If you have the skills to back yourself up, multiple organizations will make sweet offers to recruit you. What matters the most here is the relationships you've built. Your fate depends on the things you've done, or karma in other words. We didn't start out as fixers at the beginning, no, we were in fact part of a homicidal syndicate. Just see how intimidating we look. We used to be murder for hire in District 23. It was a small syndicate run by Naoki and I and a few others, but our influence started to expand bit by bit since the young and talented Tane joined us. Our current boss was originally the representative of an office we raided. They visited us once. They heard that we shredded their fixers brutally and hung their ragged corpses on the streets like scarecrows. Said they'll need people like us. Wow, that's a way to recruit them. I thought they were just freaky with weird tastes, but looking back, now I get why they chose us. It's a strategy. Each office does all kinds of sensational stunts to attract the attention of potential clients in this oversaturated market. They hold radical events such as pay for one request, get one for free, or group weapons into different grades and offer a free exchange for one of their most expensive ones. And the gullible clients fall for it. They don't know how much more that 1+1 deal actually costs or how it has limitations on the grades of requests you can make. They don't bother looking up to check if the top grade weapons are in fact used ones. Seems our boss didn't want to add lies to this industry that's already full of filthy schemes, but they still had to catch people's eyes somehow. And this is the result. Hire guys like us and proudly advertise it. Fixes from a former killer syndicate will tear things up for you. You can count on us. Picking up a slogan like this, people get hooked up. If that suits their taste, that is. I like that line. People get hooked up. It's a little bit on the nose, but I kind of like stuff like this. And Tane, the young up-and-coming, the purple page of their office, basically. How's my new weapon? Isn't it sick? Union Corporation is the go-to workshop brand for ready-made bionic weapons and equipment. Their prices are pretty reasonable compared to most prestigious and workshop weapons too. On top of superb performance, you can replace or attach them easily without having to worry about allergies. That's pretty damn handy, you see. Oh, they still have stuff like that, okay. Oh, bionic equipment is pretty simple. It's like a weapon you attach to your body. It's not at all scary or dangerous, though it could feel a bit awkward when you use it for the first time. In my case, I accidentally ripped Naoki's clothes while walking by. And cut my own cheek when I flailed it out of frustration. But now that I've gotten used to it, I feel as if I have free hands. If you have trouble finding the perfect procedure or weapon for you, try bionic equipment. I guarantee it's good. You only need to be careful, like when you start wanking, not to use the wrong one. And Naoki. Lucky fucker, Jesus. There's a huge variety of workshops. As diverse as syndicates and fixes are, weapons need individuality to stand out in this day and age. Old-fashioned swords or guns won't stand a chance against modern weapons loaded with new technology, I bet. From cheap and common gear to bionic equipment like the one Tane's using, to equipment with ridiculous abilities that's almost indistinguishable from magic. Don't get too hyped though. More options means you need to be more cautious about choosing the right one for you. If you had the time and money, you could buy them all and test them out at your leisure, but we have neither, do we? Don't just buy the things others recommend without doing your own research though. That's one of the stupidest things you could do. Might fit them, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll have a good time with it. Still confident that you can wield them well? Get real, buddy. Workshop equipment is not your average weaponry, so before you choose your weapon, observe others carefully. See if any workshop products might suit you. Having keen eyes is all part of our skills. Guess why people choose us in our office out of all the tough fixes out there. You're very full of yourself, but I like the sentiment of do your own research before you do buy anything. That's something I fully agree with. And the Hook Office Fixer page 1. Was there a page 2 actually, and I'm just missing it? I don't know. Back when we were still part of the Killer Syndicate, we got a client asking us to hunt some crazed syndicate. They were shaking like a drenched rat as they came in. I suppose they were scared of places like this. They asked us to catch the wicked criminals kidnapping people in the parts of the streets they live in. We had one question though. It's nice that they're giving us a job, but why ask a syndicate like us instead of going to the Zwei or other offices that are better suited for handling public safety issues? And they said they did try to request an office at first with the money raised by their neighbors, but then the office asked for a ridiculous sum of money, claiming that there's much preparation they need to take before they can uproot the whole syndicate. Poor fellow begged for help, but the office personnel didn't even flinch. Well, money is the only thing that gets fixes moving, so that's understandable. And I think their friend recommended us to them while they were looking for another way, if I remember it right. Introduced us as a trustworthy syndicate. They came all the way to our hideout. Trustworthy syndicate. It's a shame, really. I can still remember the client's head staring daggers at me, hanging from the top of a power pole. Syndicate paid us more cash. What could I do about it? We don't write official contracts or anything, so the highest bidder gets our favor. No use glaring at me like that, pal. We were told by our new client to hang their head and guts out in the streets to make an example of him. Those sick fucks even used some kind of singularity to keep him alive. Poor bastard. Should have requested an office in the first place somehow. Wow. That is actually... wow. And with that, we switch over to Urban Myth. P.S. Bistro. Jack's page. Our usual source of cooking ingredients are syndicates specializing in butchery. The kinds of meat they treat and how they process it differs for each syndicate, so you should pick your caterer carefully. Our meat pie bistro used to frequently trade with the Musicians of Bremen and Little Piggies. Well, by now we know the musicians, right? They're fucked up. Wee-haw! The Musicians of Bremen provided large quantities of meat, though it wasn't exactly the freshest. Shattered chips of bones were often in the meat, and a mixture of different types would create an odd flavor. Still was a reliable supply of ingredients all in all. Outside of special occasions, we'd use them for making experimental dishes or sausages. Oh, speaking of, sausages are made from a mix of several different kinds of meat. You could even find a rat inside at times. Anyway, we rarely sold the dishes made out of their meat other than the sausages. They'd never treat their meat nicely before handing it to us. Oh, okay. The meat from little piggies is pricey and comes in small quantities, but its quality is good. We even got the highest grade meat sometimes if we were lucky. Just looking at the meat from little piggies fills me with ideas about how to cook it and makes my mouth water. That's how appealing the meat looks. The price is rather heavy, so we only use it for important dishes of foods we serve to customers. But both syndicates suddenly said they're no longer selling ingredients for some reason. So now Pierre and I have to pioneer a new supply chain on our own. I don't think this is all too bad though. I enjoy working with Pierre a lot. Oh, Jack. Oh, Jack. It makes me wonder why little piggies stopped giving them meat though. We know that the musicians of Bremen basically they took up a different, like, passion other than eating people. Pierre's page. Most cooks who live here have the same dream, becoming one of the 8 chefs. They're the people who pursue the ultimate delicacy. Their way of cooking will give you a thrill just hearing about it. You don't feel it? No, I'm sure you can feel it inside. I sound crazy? Yeah, listen up, you stubborn square. This is why I can't talk with people whose brains are too old. They taste bad too. There's a limit to the flavors people can draw forth. The height of taste the human tongue can feel isn't as impressive as you might think, really. The most delicious food doesn't come close to sending chills down your spine. At most, it's just good enough to make your eyes spin, and the food you guys casually eat going, tasty, are way below that. So many chefs gathered round one time, pondering what to do to pursue a taste beyond this limit. And then inspiration struck all of them at the same time like lightning. What if they sublimated the experience into taste, something beyond what the tongue can feel? You know, they say the presentation of food adds to its taste, right? What if the whole process of cooking could be tasted? They performed several experiments in an attempt to make their dream come true. So? What do you mean so? I wouldn't be trying to so hard if there was an end to delicacy. All the chefs are continuing the research to this day, seeking more stimulating flavors. And I just want to be as good as the stain on their apron at least. The whole process. Including the killing, I guess. Okay. Backstreet's Butcher, page 1. District 23 is the street of flavor. Everything is permitted in the pursuits of making delicious dishes, even dismembering humans. Isn't that exciting? A guest walked into a restaurant for a meal, but then the chef fell in love with them. They had the perfect amount of tenderness and girth. The chef pulled out a knife and the guest ended up on a plate. You'll become the food you appreciated one day, and others will appreciate what you've become. It's a common story often told in these streets. Well, if you really become the main character of one of those tales, be honored. That means the chef saw you as an excellent meat. This is one of the best compliments you can hear in District 23. The more you know. Crazy, I tell you. Like, I legitimately don't get cannibalism. This is this is one of the concepts that just unnerve me. Butchering a human is a lot simpler than butchering other animals. Most of them are smaller than us, which means we can subdue them right away even if they try to resist. Like most animals as well, but okay. Oh, I'm not saying you necessarily have to be told to be a butcher, so don't be discouraged. Anyway, humans can be a bit noisy, but they're pretty handy to deal with overall since there's little to worry about compared to other meats. Besides the 8 chefs, for them, human meat is the one and only ingredient that matches their pursuit. Some buzz about how the process of cooking should be part of the flavor. You can't do that with any other meat, so you'd better watch it. If you dare wander this part of the town, your destination might end up being a dining table. And not, like, on the receiving end. Which, yeah, I'd like to be on the... No, wait, whatever. Streetlight office. Oh, this is a big one. Master's page. My mother was a fixer with a high grade that every one of my peers would dream of reaching. She was the envy of all. A radiant individual who received endless supplies of various expensive equipment and garnered constant recruit offers from other offices. Does that mean I had a safe, comfortable childhood under the care and wealth of such a wonderful person? Had that been the case, I would have earned a position in one of the wings already. Being the son of a high-ranked fixer, I was often targeted by syndicates opposing her, and my mother's acquaintances held high expectations for me. Am I remembering that they said that his mother is a colored fixer even? At first I was okay with the expectations. I was already dreaming to follow the path of my mother. In fact, I was hoping to live up to it and hear compliments such as, "I knew you could make it," from others. Yes, I'm going to become a great fixer just like my mother. And she'll be proud of me one day, right? She'll proudly say, "That's my boy," in front of others. I studied hard day after day, taking no breaks in between. Countless times I held my sword with a strong resolve, and many days I spent weeping alone. Even if I faced setbacks and failures, I believed I could overcome them and stand strong like the protagonist of a movie, as if I could actually be someone great. But in the end, I grew into an ordinary aspiring fixer and I learned that I was only an average person with no talent to show off. When I entered an ordinary office with my ordinary capabilities, my mother seemed very glad to hear the news. She said an associate office of the 2 is a good start, that I'll certainly be able to become successful if I work my way up slowly. However, I was greatly disappointed in myself, and I couldn't look my mother in the eyes until I said my final goodbyes and left the house. Only goes to show that your parents' accomplishments are not yours, especially if it's about... No, actually it's always like that. Like if they made a lot of money, fucking hell, that's not your work, you didn't do that. And in Mars's case was like his mother is most likely either incredibly intelligent or very powerful physically. And you don't always inherit that, right? Like the body, the DNA, of course, you get a little bit from your parents, but in this case, it's different. Just because your mother's an incredible fixer doesn't mean you're just as talented. And that's what he couldn't cope with. Lulu's page. Oh, Lulu, I miss you. Ugh, crap, another day without work. Fantastic, there's got to be some case for us to take care of, like fly tipping or something. I'm gonna forget how to move at this rate. If I told my friends about this, they're so gonna whine like, well, isn't it a good thing that you have a lot of free time? Or, you're well off, we're about to starve from the lack of requests. Those dummies. Think about it for a moment. You need results to promote to better fixer grades and see some growth in your office, right? And that's gonna lead to higher income for us. For now, I'm working with my boss San and some dog shaped like a ball of rice cake. But things could be better than this in the future, yeah? It's not like I have problems with my co-workers. I'm talking about stuff like weapons and office interior. You know? Those kind of things. Do you get what I mean? I do bicker with Mars and snap at him often, yes, but that doesn't mean I hate him. San and Mars are both precious colleagues to me. Though, yeah, I know what you're about to say. If fixers develop private feelings for each other, it could be much harder to bear whatever happens down the line. I know what I'm doing is stupid. I have wits, unlike Mr. Rice Cake Face. But we're humans, it's just something that can't be helped. How could we just strictly detach ourselves from one another and focus on work? I tried acting nonchalant, I did, but I guess I can't do it. San said he feels the same. I gotta envy Mars for being cool-headed all the time. Poor Lulu. I miss her, I really do. Like, it's incredible how the game makes you care about very minor characters, especially since you only see them for one reception or two or something. Remember Pierre? Everyone went crazy about the cute cannibal girlfriend type. And that's it, she's gone. She's not gonna come again. Instead, we have recurring characters like Argelia. Yeah, he was pretty cool as well in his own right, but I like it when the early game feels just as important as the late game, I guess. A peacekeeping office provides protection for requested territories for a certain period of time. Lulu is one in those offices. What are they protecting against, you ask? The city, obviously. What I'm saying is, the job is to keep the area safe from all sorts of happenings and incidents that occur in the city. Of course, there won't be much to do if the area is too small or peaceful. But man, compared to us who have to wait indefinitely for someone to make a request, Lulu's living a good life. At least she does something. And they don't have to worry about starving to death even if they don't get requests. It is exactly the line she said they would be saying. Lulu's friend page 2, which is exactly the same. Okay, page 3 and 4 are the same again, it's just that they look slightly different. Somehow they even made the hoodie look a little bit different, but that could just be graphical artifacts or something, it's mostly the weapon. Lulu's friend page 3. As a friend, it's unfortunate that Lulu is struck with grief. I don't have any tears to shed for her though. I've got my share of rough experiences, I'm just not sharing it with others. Well, I did say I'll help her out, but the truth is, my office figured that we could find plenty of valuable loot in the library, and that's pretty tempting. The other one is probably thinking the same thing as me. I mean, what dummy would actually head to such a dangerous place motivated purely by a friend's sob story? That kind of intimate and deep relationship is long gone from this world, especially in this business. That's why I can't understand Lulu. Sure, Let's say that her colleague died there. Even then, she should be valuing her own life, shouldn't she? She can be so stupid at times. Well, I have to go in with her anyway. God, that's horrible. Small spoiler. I've played up to Zhao, basically. Well, you will have seen this by the time this goes out. At least the first Zhao encounter, I think. And honestly, in my opinion, Zhao and Lulu are very much alike. But people value Zhao way more since she's some bigger fixer, I guess? But the stories are basically the same. Their chosen love interest dies. Well, in Zhao's case, they were, like, together for a longer time, or together, like, all together, I guess, at all. But anyway, their love dies, gets booked, and they get back in the library, full of rage, trying to make things right. I just want to say that I like Lulu, sorry. I'm gonna stop now. Sans page. An associate office is one that is in a cooperative relationship with one of the associations. The advantage of this designation is that its fixers will not have to worry about starving since they are paid a stable salary, and that the office simply has to handle tasks given by the association with proficiency rather than having to deal with clients and accept their requests as ordinary officers do. Spending days without an incident happening in this area designated for peacekeeping can be admittedly boring, though it's a blessing to have such a peaceful day in the city. I was grateful to have such a serenity each day, reasoning with Lulu's occasional complaints. Is boredom the one downside of being an associate office? That's not quite true. Because we're under the direct command of the association, we're forced to take on any undesirable tasks they give, even if it carries the risk of wiping out the office. I can't blame the association, so I only have myself to fault for failing to save my guys. Well, they did use you though. Like, we're gonna read that in a second with the 2. Oh yeah. Like, we haven't really fiddled much with the associations recently. In game-wise, lore-wise. Like, we had the 2, and we heard a little bit about HANA associations, the one that grades the whole threat level stuff. There were some other associations as well. Well, guess we're gonna see. Urban Legend. 2 Association. 2 Association 2, actually. Julia's page. I still remember the day when the 3 of us met for the first time. It was when I joined my previous office. I was actually scared back then. It was the first workplace I was assigned to just after I became a fixer. I was hesitating in front of the glass door, wondering whether I should go in or wait for someone to open it, but then I heard a sound coming from inside. 2 people arguing with each other. I decided to get close to the door and eavesdrop on them. How tight did the bonds between our fates have to be to lead us here? I mean, both you and I are first-timers. Isn't it reassuring to be with familiar faces? Not at all. When is this Julia person coming anyway? Don't tell me she got disappointed by your pathetic impression and went back already. She's not coming in because she's intimidated by your facial expression. She gave me a glance, turned back to the tall person with an even fiercer gaze than moments ago, then kicked him in the shin and came striding along towards me. The tall person followed, rubbing his shin. As the person with pigtails got closer and closer, I found myself stepping backward, even though I knew I should be saying hello to her. Soon, the chime on the door rang as it opened up, and we stood still for a few seconds like that, not one of us saying a single word. I don't know why, but it was so funny to me that she was puckering her lips, just as hesitant to speak as I was, so I burst out laughing. That's how she met Isadora and, San. That's pretty cool. I like that. Julia was just genuinely good-hearted, wasn't she? And Isadora. My perfect type of woman, I guess. San and Julia are old fixer friends of mine, and San's from the streets of District 21, the same place I grew up in. I wonder what's special about this. I wish we had a list of, like, the districts and what their peculiar, properties are. This is a secret I've only told Julia, but San actually used to be a huge coward. It's probably not that surprising to you since he still acts like a coward from time to time. Thinking about the old days makes me laugh, though. He'd always train himself so he doesn't lag behind and end up getting scars on his face. And one time, he walked into a dark alleyway, saying exploration shouldn't be a problem for a brave person even though his face was already full of fear, and then ran back to me in less than a minute. We almost got into serious danger one time. The 2 of us were hanging out until after dark and ran into something nasty in a remote street. It happened when I was a little kid, so my memory of that is blurry. All I can remember is looking at San's back, standing in front of me holding a tree branch as he hurriedly picked up. My heart was racing with fright, but looking at his shivering legs made me chuckle a little on the inside. I don't really remember what happened after that, as I said. Well, I guess he protected her. Why am I bringing this up all of a sudden? I don't know. I was just reminded of the old time seeing San kneel down for the sake of his juniors. He never changes, huh? I guess San was also a good guy, like exploited, but that's more Walter's fault, I think. The associations handle requests often made for fixes such as security, combat, assassination, intel, patenting, and trades. When there's money, there are associations. The associations follow the demand, not the other way around. Demand equals requests, and requests equals profit. It may seem too materialistic to you, but seeing how the associations work, you'll have to agree that money is the prime objective. For instance, the associations sort and classify every single notable event in the city. Urban myths, urban legends, urban plagues, urban nightmares, and stars of the city. Risk is not what determines their grade. The only question that matters is how much people are willing to pay to have the threat eliminated. That's interesting. So it's not this way, but it's the other way around, basically. You get more risky by people wanting to get rid of you instead of getting rid of more people and being more risky. That's cool. That's Spy Fixes page. Is there a person or a group dedicated to stopping violence or murder in the back streets? Not quite. You're on your own, unless you have the money to hire fixers. Protection isn't some volunteer service you can get for free. Fixers risk their lives for it. It'll take our lives worth of money to get motivated to work. We aren't robots. If you're so afraid, why don't you hire fixers or move to a nest? You're free from all outside threats when you live in a nest. Unless the nest falls of course. Like Yale Corp did. Spy Association is your shield. We protect you, your family, and your home from syndicates of the back streets or crazed murderers. If you have the wealth to make a direct request to the association, that is, without due payment, the association will not move. Do you believe our request fee is too expensive and you would rather request a syndicate? Well, making a request to a syndicate is an option. We don't recommend it. The reason is obvious. No organization in the city that operates without abiding formal procedures can be trusted. Associate fixes are classified into multiple levels too. From Section 1, which is the apex, to Section 6, the bottom. There's a world of difference in the salaries and treatment they get. I guess that's because they're much more experienced than us. If I keep trying hard, then maybe I'll be able to join Section 5 someday. It's not an easy feat to get out of Section 6, of course. It takes a huge effort, or perhaps something that can't be accomplished with effort alone. I'm a fresh member here, so there's still a lot for me to learn. Still, I'm gonna pick up experience as I resolve the missions assigned to me, and I'll probably figure out what to do in time. Spy tends to be more defensive than other associations' offices. Our main purpose is not to fight and win, but rather to ensure the safety of our clients. We don't perpetrate unnecessary killings in our duty of protecting people. Thus, if you're looking to make a request for someone's death, we recommend seeking other associations for it. God, it's kind of sad. Never moving up in the world anymore anyway. And with that, we go to the stray dogs. Young Me's page. Some fools laugh at these accessories I'm wearing. They think I'm a glossy punk trying to look cool, figured out with random ornaments without a second thought. What they don't know is that these ain't just for fashion. They're good for making arrogant idiots let their guard down, but before that, they're workshop products with real practical uses. You heard about how people use belts to choke others, didn't ya? Oh, wow. These accessories are similar to that. They're useful for beating someone to death, though I've gotta take the risk that comes from using them. Expensive gadgets crafted by premium workshops have almost zero side effects. On the other hand, this ring for example lets me deliver a harder blow with my punches, but it chafes the skin off my hand at the same time. This one's on me for using it for too long, and here quality products usually get regular repairs and maintenance to prevent that. The side effects on my gear is pretty minor and negligible. But in worst cases, you get some poor sort whose neck got snapped by the necklace they were wearing. God, like autoerotic asphyxiation, I guess. You don't want to cheap out on that one. Dino's page. Tattoos are the cleanest type of augment procedure you could get. I only got it cause Young Me pushed me to give it a shot. I'm pretty satisfied with the result. It doesn't cost an awful lot and it looks pretty damn nice too. Weak ass wimps run away at the sight of my tattoo, but you see, coolness isn't the one notable feature of these tattoos. There's tons of tattoo types depending on the quality of the ink and the material used, but generally speaking, you can have results like bursts of strength or skin as hard as steel. There used to be a singularity, but ever since the wing owning the tech got snapped and its patent expired, everyone and their mother's been using it. Don't get tattoos that are too cheap though. You might wake up to find melted flesh. You get exactly what you pay for in the city. Bastards are only honest when money's involved. And even then they try to trick you. It's pretty cool. Like, I wondered how the tattoos would work. Obviously they do something with your skin. Zulu's page. Even if you make your way up to the big leagues and become a decently influential syndicate, there's still loads of stronger gangs above you, and they peck at you all the same. No matter how far a syndicate climbs or tries, you just can't surpass the 5 fingers at the top. Syndicates ain't too different from fixers in that you have to repeat the same stupid shit following orders from above. So in my opinion, holding onto your place seems wiser than trying to climb up out of ambition or greed. Unless you're at rock bottom, of course. Someone's gotta be below us to serve as a punching bag, ain't that right? Yeah, guess that's a sentiment a lot of the syndicates follow. And a regular stray dogs page. God, looks so buff. Looks so weird with the closed eye as well. It's true that our syndicate's sorta intimidating and got a tight hierarchy going on, but the bond between members is strong. Actually, League's nicer than those office fucks who exploit and abandon each other with every breath. Those crooked bastards will do anything for profit. I'm sometimes in awe of the shit they pull. I actually used to be a rat. Yeah, those filthy and wretched rats everyone looks down upon. It's amazing that I'm now standing shoulder to shoulder with the dogs, ain't it? I busted my ass crawling up the ladder. I did everything in my power. Got a small tattoo with the little cash I had, and rummaged through trash to find worn but still usable accessories. God, that's sad. It was a damn tough climb, but now that I'm up here, I'm starting to feel like it might be it might have been better off to just live as a rat. Sorry. Here, a strict barking order set up between members. It's not like the rats who move in close packs. Sometimes, I do miss my old family. So even while they're close together and look out for each other. Well, if you go out of line, you're gonna be replaceable. While as a rat, everyone is equally replaceable. So you're all worth the same in a way. Mola Office. Mika's page. Every useful workshop technology is patented. The city strictly forbade making or selling products using technology patented by another workshop without purchasing the rights to it. If anyone infringes this regulation and still uses technology they shouldn't have access to, they will receive a cease and desist letter up to 3 times, just like YouTube. When you receive the warning, you must pay all profit you've earned through the infringement to A Corp as a fine. Why A Corp out of all places? Yeah, why not the other corporation you infringed upon? Weird, because that's the corporate in charge of managing and granting all patents. It's the head we're talking about. In any case, if you can't pay the penalty by the 3rd warning, the claw will tear you down. To tell you the truth, yes, I'm the daughter of a small workshop owner. My father dreamed to make his little brand famous one day. Its name was... Sorry, I don't feel like saying it out loud. It's long gone, so you'll get nothing even if you look for it. That's right. As I explained moments ago, if you can't spit out the money you illegitimately earn from manufacturing or selling products using stolen technology, punishment awaits. Wait, please listen to my story to the end. My father was a victim of fraud. His friend gave him technology and asked him to make weapons for his office out of it, so he made him per his request. He didn't even realize that the technology was stolen from someone else. He'd already sent the weapons to the office, and when he was waiting for his friend to test them out and transfer the payment, a cease and desist was sent. You can guess the rest of this story. It's interesting because the whole right branch of Train and Mola Office, and then later, what were they called? Give me a second. Gaze Office, of course. Gaze Office and Kane Office and stuff. They were all about technology and all about patents as well. Olga's page. Mio and I are old friends. I honestly don't remember how our first meeting went other than being backstreets buddies, but hey, that just goes to show how long our friendship's been, doesn't it? We've done requests together, been in life or death situations together. We've been too busy to contact each other often ever since I moved to this office, but then Mio called me out for a date one day. Sorry, stumbling here. Maybe it was because I got to drink with my old friend after a long while, or maybe it was the honor of having a seat with the famous captain of the rabbit team, but I was in a mighty good mood. I was taking swig after swig of booze. Rain would have scolded me for sure if I went back drunk as a broom. I felt that, but that happens all the time anyway, so I didn't care much. How's it going? So, how about you? Same as you, lass. After some meaningless chatters, Mio gasped like she remembered something and started skimming through a fanny pack. Sorry. Then she shot me a stealthy look. Psst, Olga, come closer. We don't want anyone peeping at us, so stick right next to me and stay quiet. You're the noisiest one here and you already stick out like a sore thumb, so just say it already. You're not a woman of style, are you? It's more fun to talk like we're secret agents exchanging confidential info when we're discussing topics like this. It's stylish that way. Forget it. Our cop has been investigating something of late. Are you giving work to our office? Or are you just bragging? By the way, I guess it's pretty serious if our cop is paying attention to whatever that is. Just how big is it? Oh, I heard people's been going missing lately. Does it have anything to do with that, or... Shut up and listen for a sec. You always have too much to say. Here's the deal, Olga. I've got a lush grassland to show you, so graze it to your heart's content and bring some of its veggies for me. How's it sound? Giving her the contract to investigate. She basically gave her 2 contracts, didn't she? Oh shit, that's not out yet, sorry. I played that, but not episode-wise. Some words she chose. I clicked my tongue and took a close look at the black card and warp train tickets Mio pushed to my side before drinking off my glass and agreeing to give it a go. I wouldn't have taken it if I'd known it would bring us to this complete lunacy, which is Love Town. Yeah, that's... oh man. Makes you question, like, which Mio she was talking to, actually. Oh, again, sorry, spoiler. Rain's page. When an office accepts a request, an official deed of contract must be drawn up before the case can be dealt with. It sounds big, but it's basically just a mutual promise. I think it's consideration in legal terms. The client will pay a certain amount of money as reward, and the fixers will do their best to resolve the case. They are plain and natural clauses for the most part. It seems people in this city are prone to breaking promises as simple as those without a contract to bind them, though. In any case, contracts serve as a physical evidence to prove our performance and secure payment when we submit reports to the association. Without a contract, there's no assurance that we'll score a record for our career to get our due payment. To give you an example, Big Sis resolved a huge case the other day, but we got absolutely nothing out of it because she forgot to sign a contract for it. Oh, you dummy, Olga. Requests made by wings are quite different from those assigned by the associations in several aspects. You'll be made the envy of everyone once you get a request from a wing. First of all, a wing commissioning a regular office indicates that the office has been recognized to be worthy of its trust, and that alone can be a significant achievement. You'll have something to brag about to other fixers, and the payment is big as well. A single request from a wing resolved can keep us afloat for 3 months minimum. If I must be honest, however, I am rather unnerved. As rewarding as work giving by wings can be, there's significant risk associated with it. Imagine how dangerous and difficult this mission may be if our corp, a wing specializing in combat, requested us to resolve it for them. Big Sis happily accepted the job, so I still can't help but be worried a little. Still, I hope it goes well. You guys are absolutely fucking dumb. You even notice that, oh wait, they're wings specialized in fighting. Why would they give it to us again? Whatever. Other. Ah, here we go. Grade 8 fixes. Page 1 and 2 are the same. All people and firms generating income in the city must pay the taxes. In addition to the fund for work-related expenses such as maintenance of equipment and monthly rent for office space, which is already a lot, fixers must accommodate for rather heavy taxes as well. I became a fixer trying not to starve, but the taxes have put me in an even tougher hardship. Ordinary people have a hard time bearing this pressure, but what can I do? In the city, orders are to be followed. We all know what happens if we don't abide by them. Yep, you get swallowed up. And a grade 8 fixer, page 3. For one to start working as a fixer, they must acquire a license issued by the Hana Association, the first association in the order. I guess Hana means one. In Korean or something? I'm not quite sure. The set of skills required to get a fixer's license is quite different from those needed to pass wing entrance exams. One is about physical fitness, while the other is more about mental prowess, so to speak. There are exceptions, of course, but this is generally the case. After acquiring the license, the fixer must join an office. After all, it's nigh impossible for a no-name fixer to take jobs on their own. Choosing the right office is also important, but you can worry about that later. Only the skilled ones can afford to make choices, like decline offers from officers or ask to be transferred to another. Newcomers who've only just become fixers or incompetent planks who can't handle the work properly should be content with any office that accepts them. Like poor old Finn. Grade 7 fixer, page 1. Really, does being a fixer sound cool to you? I suppose it seems nicer than the likes of rats swarming about in the back streets. It does have a professional charm to it too, but this is a tough job, I tell you. It might be better for you to try and enter a small company to do desk work instead. If you really believe that fixers are cool, then let me tell you something. Fixers have to risk their lives at every moment. I know, it sounds silly. Everyone already struggles and fights for their life, so what's so special about us? But at least you won't have to hear about your friend's death while you're having lunch. You pack your favorite food, savor its taste. When you're about to swallow it, know how it feels to choke on it? I do. Your friend's head suddenly rolls over to your feet. Things just happen like that. Syndicate grunts rush into our office, all of a sudden heads are blown off, and a gruesome fight breaks out. It's the so-called office raid. Are you still not convinced? Syndicate or Fixer, once you set foot in this business, all the things will bind you like shackles, slowly dragging you to the bottom. The sheer weight is going to tire you, and you'd no longer be willing to go back up. Go back and think again carefully. It's not too late for you to make the right choice. Fixer life is not easy, I guess. Wait, okay, so page 1 and page 2 are the same. And grade 7 fix page 3. Who said a fixer's a free man? Must have been some no-good show-off who told you that. Kid, that's just our dream and nothing more. Fixers are managed by offices. Most of our jobs come from the requests the offices get, so we're virtually out of work without them. And offices are managed by the 12 associations. And on top of those 12 is the HANA Association. Our lives are subordinate to layer upon layer of hierarchy. I'd love to hear what that supposed freedom is according to them, because I don't see it. There's one way to achieve that pipe dream. A fixer's freedom is only truly complete when they are given a color from the HANA Association. Don't go around proclaiming that you'll become one of the colors though. You think that it's easy to break free from these massive fetters? Yeah. I'm gonna be a color someday. It's like saying I'm gonna be an astronaut or I'm gonna be the president. These are new, by the way. I think the grade 7 fixer page, I think this has been added in the most recent patch or something. It's a new general invitation. An ex-gang member, page 1. Our syndicate's well acquainted with the guys at Hook Office. We used to chop and rip and tear together before they moved on to fix the business. We were the best buddies. The two syndicates had a wonderful time with each other. We still do help them out sometimes nowadays. You thought fixers and syndicates were enemies for life? Well, you could say it's a long-standing love-hate relationship. Usually, a syndicate causes a scene and fixers come over to take care of it. But think about it for a sec. If syndicates didn't exist, more than half of all officers would be out of jobs, essentially unemployed, you get it? It's a symbiotic relationship right there, so don't be so cold to us. Yeah, if there were no criminals, the police would go out of work, I guess. And some fixers often cooperate with syndicates to handle cases. You know, it's not like dogs and cats constantly fight each other when they're together, yeah? That's not the logic. The syndicates do the things fixers can't dare take care of. I heard some officers straight up ban killing people even. Something about life being precious and whatevs. It's bullcrap. Anyway, that's how syndicates and fixers complement each other. There's some crooks you'd want dead for sure before they could complicate things, you see? Man, talking about it makes me miss my old friends. Don't get to meet those pals often these days. Might as well storm Hook Office this time around, see some familiar faces. It's a weird way to get together again. Here you go, splits open your head. I missed you. And an ex-gang member, page 2. If you think syndicates are nothing more than gangs of ugly and bad guys, then let me tell you, that's an outdated bias. Of course, we're freer than fixers who have to follow orders and requests from associations. A lot of us kill people and do some wicked shit for the sake of cash, I'll give you that, but others aren't too different from our average fixers, I'm telling you. We get requests and solve problems, though our group's moral compass is tilted a bit to the dark side, so I can't give you a good example myself. Right, some syndicates actually do heroic stuff. Syndicates hunting syndicates. I asked them, hell man, why aren't you guys just becoming fixers instead? And they said, they don't really feel like it since they don't really want to get entangled in formal stuff. There's just too much to prepare to get a license and everything. Well, who's to say syndicates can't be the good guys, right? We're living as we like in the back streets. Reminds me of, like, they're not in these levels, but reminds me of the Index, because I think the Index, as crazy as they are, they could be an association actually. It's very curious that they're, with their cult-like behavior, that they're a syndicate. The Thumbs feels way more like a syndicate than the Index does. But it's interesting. Anyway, I think with this, we're gonna stop for now. Like, we read Canard to Urban Legend, and next video might be Urban Plague up to Star of the City or something, I don't know. If people want more of this, that is, like, if you're okay with basically 1 hour of me just reading through story pages, like getting more of the lore in, which I guess later on will be more helpful since we're reading actually named people some more than just these mooks. But we learned a lot about workshop gear, for example, or a little bit about the head or about the life in the back streets. And I quite like that. I love like every bit of information I can get. Also, let me take this opportunity to basically give out a big thank you to everyone that, even if you just watched a single video this week in Project Moon Content Week, which would have been this one if you're listening to this. So maybe you've watched at least one, maybe twice. Anyway, thank you, okay? It took a lot of time for me to record, it took a lot of time to prepare, and I'm very, very glad that this week is over now, because the week itself was also very stressful for me. But I think it was worth it, not because the views are higher than usual for me or something, which they are, but because I think that I had a lot of fun, actually. I had a lot of fun and getting others to experience fun as well. This is the main thing for me in life. Like, I like to make others have fun. I like to make others happy. I like to make myself happy as well at the same time. It's a win-win situation. That's what I want. I want everyone to be, like, to profit from that. So again, thank you. If you want me to do more of this, as I said, let me know somehow. It can be either a lot of clicks on this video or likes, or a few comments saying that you actually listen to this and not just skip ahead or something, please. Although I do understand why you would do that. Anyway, bye.